From the Valley's News Channel, this is Channel 5 News This Weekend.
Thank you for joining us for Channel 5 News This Weekend. I'm Taylor Winkle. Right now we have complete coverage of Tropical Storm Harvey. We have crews standing by in both San Antonio and the Corpus Christi area for live reports. But first, we begin with First Warn 5 meteorologist Andrew Chung. Andrew, what's the latest on the storm?
Well, Taylor, Harvey has weakened, but it is still a tropical storm. Let's take a look at the latest numbers from the National Hurricane Center. This is as of the 10 p.m. advisory, 29.3 north, 97.3 west, and the maximum winds are down to 50 miles. Now we're moving to the east-northeast very, very slowly at just 1 mile an hour. And the worry is that Harvey is just going to drift over the next 24 hours or so between Central and South Texas. That means more heavy rain and a very serious flooding threat in that triangle between San Antonio, Houston, and Corpus Christi. Here's that forecast track, the official forecast track. Harvey expected to weaken further to a tropical depression by tomorrow and then move back to the south, perhaps toward the Corpus Christi area by Monday as a tropical depression. And then the forecast has it hooking back to the north, perhaps towards southeast Texas and then central and north Texas. In this case, still a very big flooding situation, especially for southeast Texas as well as points westward. Here, just a few showers in the valley. We're just going to leave about a 20 to 30% chance of some showers for tonight into tomorrow, but you can see the heavy rains continue well to the north of us in that triangle. We'll talk more about Harvey and our local forecast in just a bit. Back to you, Taylor.
And mixed emotions tonight in the disaster zones left by Harvey. Channel 5's Leslie Aguilar was in Rockport when people saw the damage for the first time. She joins us live now. Leslie, what's going on over there?
Yeah, right now people in Rockport and all around Aransas County are just in survival mode, figuring out where their next meal will come from and where they'll find a safe, dry place to sleep. Moments after sunrise, just hours after Hurricane Harvey made landfall, people started processing.
So far, so good, if you could say that.
We found John Bevington walking to his house from his mother-in-law's place where he weathered the storm.
But I wanted to first stop by here to see if my rent house was in good shape, which it more or less is. So I'm very, very thankful about that. That's one down and about quite a few others to go.
The destruction all around town wasn't bringing Bevington down. Like most others, he's elated to be alive and unharmed.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh my God.
This family is taking things a little harder. Serena Gonzalez is traumatized.
Everything started leaking.
And it started.
And I kept saying the roof is caving in. The roof is caving in.
Roofs are caved in all over this small city. The face of the First Baptist Church is ripped off. The Fairfield Inn and Suites is showing its staircase to the outside. Some people got trapped inside their homes and had to be rescued hours later. Piles of rubble, flipped RVs, and uprooted trees show just how dangerous it was in Harvey's path.
It was quite an adventure. Maybe we should have left town. Probably would have been the more prudent thing to do.
Hindsight 2020. Now, all that matters is moving forward. Now, the Rockport mayor did confirm today one fatality from the storm. That person was found inside their home today. There are also reports of dozens of other people still missing. Search and rescue efforts are ongoing, but a lot of those missing people reports can also be due to miscommunication, as there is still no cell service for miles around Rockport. Reporting live in Corpus Christi tonight, Leslie Aguilar, Channel 5 News This Weekend.
And we know from emergency coordinators the Aransas Pass was also hit hard. That town is still without cell service tonight, and so far no confirmation of any serious injuries. Channel 5's Matt Rist spent the day there and found volunteer search and rescue crews hard at work.
A light wind blows in Aransas Pass. The wind here was so strong it blew the pump canopy off its support poles. Flooded streets hinder people trying to clean up.
There's flooding, a bunch of trees down.
One man who lives here said he was frustrated with response in the hours after the storm.
City not doing anything, AEP not doing anything, gas company not doing anything.
There's gas leaks on.
No emergency aid.
At the end of a flooded street, that frustration vanished. Volunteers with Texas Search and Rescue were hard at work.
Her paraplegic son is inside the home.
You can barely see the Story family's home. 2 massive trees in their front yard came down overnight, right on top of James Story's wheelchair ramp.
Raining cats and dogs. It was real loud.
Story said the trees fell early yesterday. The National Weather Service clocked winds nearby at over 100 miles per hour.
I looked out the door and there wasn't no getting out, so might as well stay put.
It took volunteers more than half an hour to create a safe path to Story's front door. It's something he won't forget.
I shook their hand, told them I appreciated it so much.
A small token of gratitude as neighbors wait for floodwaters to recede. In Aransas Pass, I'm Matt Rist, Channel 5 News at 10.
And crews are setting up long-term shelters in San Antonio as families wonder when they can go back home. Channel 5's Angelo Vargas joins us from San Antonio, where he tells us those evacuees are not giving up. Angelo.
Families are taking different steps to cope with this storm. More rain is expected to come in the San Antonio area, and families may have to stay longer in this shelter than they expected. A middle school was turned into a shelter, a new home for 1,000 voices.
I'm basically homeless, so this was kind of a blessing.
Dad Bruce lives in Corpus Christi. He fell on hard times just before Hurricane Harvey hit the coast.
I work, but I don't have enough funds for an apartment.
Bruce plans to go back to his home and is staying optimistic. The feeling is mutual for Army medic veteran Elmer Griggs.
When I first got here, I was a little bit down. Of course, I had to leave everything, but you know, that's just stuff you can replace stuff.
Griggs is not worried about his home of 15 years in Corpus Christi. He wants to help people like Bruce.
It's pretty much my calling, but since I can't be out there actually doing it now, God's blessed me with another calling now to help people. You know, I can counsel with them and, you know, encourage and lift their spirits up.
Bruce says he'll stay as long as he has to. Griggs will stay strong through faith. San Antonio officials tell us that they expect more people to come into these shelters. The San Antonio mayor also tells us they have more than 1,100 people so far sheltered. Live in San Antonio, Angelo Vargas, Channel 5 News this weekend.
And tonight, Valley first responders joining them in San Antonio. They were sent to help with recovery efforts. A total of 26 responders are inside the AT&T Center in San Antonio. This group includes firefighters, technicians, medics, and a nurse. The City of FAR IT Director Jason Arms says they're ready to help people in San Antonio and coastal areas impacted by Harvey.
These professionals from the Valley will be used to augment other rescue teams and other medical resources working in the San Antonio, Corpus, and Rockport area.
Arms explains they're bringing equipment for satellite communications and internet. The team will be in operation for about 5 days. Cameron and Willacy counties are now included in the state's disaster declaration over Hurricane Harvey. The counties were 2 of 20 counties added to the declaration. The declaration allows the state to deploy all available resources to those affected by the storm. Governor Abbott says it will help Texas rebuild and recover. The Valley was spared from most of that damage, but there is an app that helps the island prepare for the worst. We hear from the police chief coming up.
Breaking news, breaking stories. This is Channel 5 News with Taylor Winkle. First Warn 5 weather with meteorologist Andrew Chung. And sports with Brandon Ortega. This is Channel 5 News this weekend.
The Valley missed most of the damage from Hurricane Harvey. One place that prepared for the worst was South Padre Island. The island police chief says a new emergency app was key in keeping residents informed. Channel 5's Lauren Kendrick explains.
Drive over the Queen Isabella Causeway and it looks like a normal day. Just north of us, Hurricane Harvey caused mass destruction to parts of the Texas coast. South Padre Island Police Chief Randy Smith says they were prepared for whatever Harvey was going to do to the island.
Each one of these storms, you can prepare for a certain set of circumstances and then you can follow the storms. But then you have to tweak all your plans to fit the conditions because not one storm is always the same.
Chief Smith says first responders prepared for the worst.
Our preparations were all called for. We know that we would have been ready if the storm would have taken a little bit more westward turn. We were just in the clearance.
He says other than strong winds and rain, there was no significant damage. Preparations included a new emergency notification system put in place months ago called Swift 911.
We had a lot of people initially sign up, and then of course with our hurricane stickers and our Swift 911 we had a lot of people signing up and getting stickers off the last minute. But it was a good way for us to manage on who belongs on the island and how we can get notifications out to those folks.
Nearly 3,500 people signed up for the alerts. Driving around, we saw folks taking boards off the windows and getting back to normal life. Mike Wilcox has gone through his share of hurricanes.
Back in Delhi, I lost this balcony and water came in like crazy. So this year I thought it sounded like it's going to be really bad.
He and his cat Barry went to Mission to stay safe.
We've had 4 evacuations since I moved down here 20 years ago, and only one hit us, and that was Delhi, and that's the one I stayed for. I was here during the Delhi. And so this time when they were talking about it, I decided I better scoot a little.
Wilcox hopes this is the last hurricane for a while. On South Padre Island, Lauren Kendrick, Channel 5 News This Weekend.
First Warn 5 Weather Report, supported by Bert Ogden and Fiesta Dealerships.
And now, First Warn 5 weather with meteorologist Andrew Chung.
Welcome back, everyone. When you think about it, we have been very, very lucky here in the valley, considering what's been going on up to the north with our friends in central, south, and southeast Texas. Here's a satellite picture of Harvey. You notice the eye is gone. Harvey was downgraded to a tropical storm earlier today. It continues to weaken. It's still a tropical storm, but the maximum winds are down to 50 miles an hour. But notice the clouds, a very wide storm, and we continue to see some of those outer band clouds here in the valley. That's going to continue for tonight into tomorrow. Let's take a look at the watches and warnings. And a tropical storm warning continues for the Corpus Christi area as well as San Antonio in the reddish orange. But the tropical storm warning has been discontinued for the Houston area. However, they are seeing flash flood warnings at this time. Wind advisory still in effect for the Austin area, both Travis and Williamson counties at this time shown in the pink. Latest numbers from the National Hurricane Center on Tropical Storm Harvey. The winds were at 65 miles per hour earlier this evening. They've now weakened, and it's down to 50 mile per hour maximum winds. And look at the movement. Very, very slow to the east-northeast to just 1 mile an hour. And this is the problem for folks in that triangle between San Antonio, Corpus, and Houston. Harvey is basically going to drift or move very, very slowly over the next 24 hours. So that means a lot more rain, a serious flooding situation, the case for that triangle of Texas for the rest of the weekend into the start of next week. Here's that forecast track, the official track from the Hurricane Center, then takes Harvey as a depression back toward the Corpus Christi area and then making a sharp hook by Monday back to the north, perhaps heading toward southeast Texas and then perhaps toward central and north Texas. And you notice how wide this forecast cone is. That's because the different forecast models disagree on the direction of Harvey, so it could go anywhere within that cone for next week. In any case, a very bad situation for people in that part of Texas. Here in the valley, again, very lucky, just a few showers this evening. We're going to keep in a few spotty showers because of the outer bands of Harvey, but we're only talking about a 20 to 30% chance of some showers tonight and tomorrow. And there it is on the radar. You can still see the counterclockwise spin in the rain. Very heavy rain bands, very nasty weather moving through Houston at this time, where they have a flash flood warning in Harris County. Also, look at the heavy rain just to the east of Austin. There's that band in the yellow and the orange. More heavy rain to the north of that center of circulation. And some of those rain bands even moving to Louisiana as well as East Texas this evening. Now, here in the Valley, it was a hot one today. We had high temperatures in the triple digits here in Weslaco, McAllen, and the Upper Valley. And the reason for that, the wind flow around Harvey here in the Valley has been from the west to southwest. And you know what that means. Those winds come off the mountains of Mexico. As that air descends, it compresses and warms. You get compressional heating, and that's why the temperature soared today. That is going to be the case again for tomorrow. Highs in the upper 90s to triple digits, but then the temperatures come down finally for Monday. Right now we're in the 80s, even lower 90s in McAllen. So for tomorrow, 80 degrees here in the Valley at 8 a.m. A spotty shower possible throughout the day. 93 at noon, 97, also a little bit breezy. Here's future track model hitting and a few showers for the overnight hours, and maybe for tomorrow's mix of sun and clouds for tomorrow. We'll still see that possibility for a few spotty showers for tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening, even as well as for Monday into Tuesday. Here's that 7-day forecast. By the way, small craft use caution on the waters tonight. We'll have high temperatures back in the lower 90s for Monday and Tuesday, and a high surf advisory actually continues until 4 o'clock in the morning for the coast. So 93 on Monday and Tuesday, 20 to 30% chance of some showers. We'll keep it a 20% chance of some showers Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's your First Warn 5 forecast. We'll be back after this.
And now sports with Brandon Ortega.
What's up? Hope you're having a great weekend. More Cowboys preseason tonight on Channel 5. So far, we had seen Dak, Dez, and Witten all in action, but there was one player fans had been chomping at the bit to see play, and that was number 21, Ezekiel Elliott. Finally got the green light to play tonight. Cowboys taking on the Raiders in Arlington. Elliott got some touches early on. First quarter, picks up a first down. 6 carries, 18 rushing yards. Also had 2 catches. Let's go to the second quarter. Boys in the red zone. Prescott, play action to perfection. Hooks up with Witten. A solid night for the starters. Dallas rallies back to win. 24-20. They're now 3-1 in the preseason. Out to New Orleans. Texans shut out by the Saints as we take a look at the next game. And 13-0 was the final. New Orleans over Houston. Texans will face the Cowboys on Thursday night to wrap up the preseason. Volleyball, UTRGV picking up their first win, 3-1 over St. Louis. They're 1-2 now on the season. Next up, Vaqueros visit 18th ranked Oregon Thursday night. Tonight, we gear up for battle with the Gladiators. Channel 5 two-a-day tour takes us to Roma after back-to-back trips to the postseason. Last year, the Gladiators came up short. 2016 ended with a 5-5 record. It was the 6th season in a row Roma finished with at least 5 wins, and now they've got a new head coach. Frank Villanueva moves up from defensive coordinator. Roma has 3 starters back on offense, 5 on defense, so a lot of competition going on throughout fall camp. Villanueva and the Gladiators ready to take on a new challenge.
Excited. Can't wait for the season to get going. Yeah, like you said, I didn't expect it. It happened, and I'm in it all the way. Because a lot of those kids that we have right now are returning defensive guys, so they were kind of excited when they heard that I was the one taking over. And, well, it feels good.
Roma kicks off the season with Palmview Friday night. All right, that's all for sports. Channel 5 News this weekend. We'll be right back.
And new developments tonight. The Brownsville Ship Canal is back open. The U.S. Coast Guard Portmaster closed the channel earlier this week because of Harvey. Crews are now resuming routine port operations. The State Highway 550 entrance is open, but the Faust Road entrance remains closed. We may have some problems traveling up north because of Hurricane Harvey. You can check road closures by going to drivetexas.org. For now, let's get a look at our roads with meteorologist Andrew Chung. Any slowdowns tonight?
We're not seeing major slowdowns at this time, Taylor. Let's take a look in the Harlingen area. Minor slowdown on 69E just to the west of downtown Harlingen. This is northbound 69E. Meanwhile, a minor slowdown on the Queen Isabella Causeway westbound between South Padre and Port Isabel. Here's some drive times. It'll take you 29 minutes from Harlingen to McAllen and 15 minutes from Weslaco to McAllen. If you have an accident report, please call us at 956-968-5555. All right, Harvey has weakened, still a tropical storm, but now the winds are down to 50 miles an hour. It's going to drift over that area between Corpus, San Antonio, and Houston, bringing more heavy rain, and the flooding threat does continue for many parts of Texas, especially the eastern third. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Here in the valley, about a 20 to 30% chance of some showers or maybe a thunderstorm tonight into tomorrow and for the next couple of days. 99 tomorrow, then a little bit cooler Monday and Tuesday with highs back in the lower 90s, mid-90s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at
5:30 and 10.
And 10:30. Have a good night.
Closed captioning brought to you by Channel 5 and Clark Chevrolet McAllen.